What is up? As you can tell from the title of this video, we're getting serious. We broke out the laptop. We're doing a tier list. Let's just give that caveat though. This is list of players you want heading into this year's playoffs. So Wemby, sorry, like you just don't fit the criteria. Maybe next year. And I think the big question to start on, does Jokic belong in a tier by himself?
It could be argued.
Because I'm just gonna do that right now. I'm just gonna drag Jokic up to the S tier because I don't think anybody's gonna argue against that, are they?
Are you gonna explain the tiers?
People who are watching this video, I think, know what a tier list is, and if they don't, well, figure it out. So, yeah, I drag Jokic to the S tier. There's no argument against that. But does he belong in this tier by himself?
I have him in my B tier.
All right.
Let's blast.
No, I don't think he belongs in his own tier. Well, let's get to it. Who else do you think is anywhere near him?
Are we doing it?
Okay, bust out the BI files. Okay, I'll call it like, I mean, he's the top of my list.
Yeah.
Should be the top of everyone's list.
Everybody's list. Now, how you quantify what's an S versus an A, like we can have an open discussion about it, but I think just universally he's on top of everybody's list.
I think S to me signifies someone who is likely to make the finals and has won the title before.
So, but now here's a question, because I also have Luka in my S tier, and I don't think Luka would be punished. I don't think he should be punished because of the team he plays with.
I think he should be punished.
So, but are we talking about the player, or because I think we can all agree? Well, maybe we can all agree because you guys disagree.
We're not going to agree.
But it's the team that is holding Luka back from being on that same level.
Okay, sure.
This is gonna be fun because like Luka in your S tier.
So it was close. Originally, I had Giannis and Jokic, and then I flirted with Luka up there. And because I moved Luka up there, was purely based off of he should not be punished because his team isn't good enough to make a finals.
Like, this is gonna be a great discussion. I can't wait to hear this because one of the things that I think factors into who is at the very, very top. There's a level of experience and like seniority that comes with winning in the NBA.
In solidarity.
Like it's just how it goes in my opinion. And I just think a guy like Luka, who's really never gotten all the way there, we can assume he knows he has what it takes to get there. But just like Jokic, who we kind of didn't give credit to him.
Even though at least had made conference finals, though.
Yeah,
right?
But the point being, like, we didn't like a year or two ago, you weren't giving Jokic credit. Like, oh, he's still too soft. He can't defend him. Then he did it.
Jokic would not be in the S tier if this was done 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. I think to me, in order to be in the S tier, you've had to have won before or gotten to the dance multiple times.
So Jokic is clearly in the S tier.
He's in the S tier.
I think Giannis is in everyone's S tier.
I don't agree with that.
So he's not in yours.
He's not in my S tier.
Okay, I want to point out that I only have Jokic in my S tier.
I have two guys in my S tier.
Do you have multiple S tiers?
I did this multiple times. I've kind of exhausted myself with this exercise. Initially, at one point, I only had Jokic. And then from there, I had Jokic and Giannis. Then I had Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. I support if we only want to do just Jokic. I have no issue with that.
I'm the only one with exclusive S tier, Jokic, right?
I mean, I love Jokic, but I would put Giannis on the close to the same level as him. He's won a title,
a Fugazi title, a title that was undeserved. And yes, he's made it there.
I'm not here to take titles away from guys. We can talk about the path the Bucks had that year. It was very soft.
It was a joke.
At the end of the day, he has a title. He's a 2-time MVP. He's won Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he has to at least be close to that par.
Honestly, too, I feel like if we take this pre-All-Star break, I know recency bias is we're all trapped in it. The Bucks have been really good since the All-Star break.
Come on.
People were saying like,
listen, the reason the Bucks will do well this year is because the East is really, really not as strong. You got Boston, who's a tier ahead of everyone. They're rolling through the league. Milwaukee could be that, especially with Philly hurt. Milwaukee could slide in just by default in the East. So yes, I will give you that from this year's perspective. I'm gonna give you my pick, my second pick. Kawhi Leonard.
So wait, you're saying Kawhi S tier?
Kawhi is S tier.
That's crazy.
I don't think that's crazy because I have Kawhi pretty high.
This isn't 2019. Okay.
Dude, last year's playoffs alone, he was going to single-handedly take down the Phoenix Suns before he got hurt.
You get demerit points if you can't make it through the playoffs.
I disagree with that.
What do you mean you disagree with that? He played 2 games.
He got through the playoffs in 2019.
That's 5 years ago.
When he's in the playoffs, he's a two-way monster, and he's done it before.
He doesn't make it through the playoffs,
Every single player fears him, man. Every single player in the league fears Kawhi Leonard. To me, he's S tier, and if he stays healthy, your team has a chance to win the title. That is how I interpret this exercise.
But that's a massive if.
All this is if. You just had an old if about if Doncic had a better team, he should be S tier.
Yeah, but Kawhi hasn't been healthy in the playoffs since 2019.
That's fine. Giannis.
No, he was healthy
he
was healthy in the bubble, and they blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets.
They blew in the bubble.
So I mean, listen, Kawhi at his peak, yes, he's one of the best, but I'm sorry if you can't make it through the postseason.
He's healthy this season.
I can't put you on the level of Jokic.
He looks more healthy than Giannis right now. Giannis just tweaked something as of late. I don't know. This is like dated podcast, but Giannis got hurt last year as well, and then essentially helped cause his team to lose, to get eliminated against the Heat. If Kawhi is healthy, to me, going into the season, and he has looked very healthy, he's looked very spry. We may have put money on him to win MVP, which isn't looking great right now. I would fear him over any player not named Nikola Jokic.
That's fine. That's your opinion, but we haven't seen that. Just because you think people might be scared of him, we haven't seen the body of work anytime recently.
Raptors fans have seen it real close, and when he has been healthy, we have seen him dominate.
So just in the spirit,
I got Kawhi,
in the spirit of moving this thing along, I think the agreement is Jokic is alone in the S tier because
we're gonna have a debate.
I would put Giannis in the. I'd put Giannis in the S tier as well. Personally, if you guys want to overrule me, that's fine.
No. I think it's good to do Jokic S tier unanimous because that's the only one we agree on.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna all disagree. Okay, we can get into it. We're gonna disagree on who number 2 is. We all seem to have a different number 2.
It's playoffs, man. This
so
is
I'm talking
how you win the title.
I'm not talking about regular season either. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay, go ahead.
So Giannis is my number 2, and it's the same logic about health, track record, seniority. He's done it, but like you talk about a guy like Kawhi. When I was going through the two of them, you think about defensively, what's their impact? You can say one's better than the other. I don't think they're too far off. I think both of them are very capable on the defensive end. When I think about Giannis, he's not the closer. That's a big problem for him. That's a big X for me.
Big
about
time.
him.
Yeah, big time.
But when you think about I think about like replacement value, how many guys can do offensively what Giannis does, and the gravity that he holds in terms of his ability to get to the rim. When I look at my tier of guys in S and A and B, Giannis is the only guy who can get to the rim at the ability that he has with the athleticism that he has. No one else has the athleticism and track record like he does.
I think a big thing with Giannis too, and we're talking playoffs, and playoffs often it's the meme, the bus meme, the one guy analytics versus he got that dog in him. And we saw in that Phoenix finals, when the moment is up there, Giannis hit all his free throws. Yep. He was on one of the most unstoppable finals appearances we've ever seen. So we know he got that dog in him. Big game player for the playoffs.
Against the Suns team that you can make the argument should not have been there, did not deserve to get there. But yes.
Who should have been there then though? Like
if the Clippers didn't get hurt, probably.
Well, the Clippers weren't there because they were injured.
Hey man,
well, shocker.
This is an exercise.
Sorry,
anyway, we're all in agreement though. Giannis is going to the
He's third on my list, so he's top 3.
I actually had another guy in my S tier, and that's Steph Curry. And I know you guys are going to overrule me, but listen, man.
A wise man once told me the Warriors dynasty was done, sitting in that very seat.
It is done.
I am not.
He's S tier.
So we saw him 2 years ago, beat the Celtics in the finals. He put the team on his back. Still the best shooter on the planet as far as I'm concerned.
Unicorn.
He's still someone who terrifies anyone he's going to play against. I'm not going to hold it against him that Klay has now lost a step and Draymond can't stay on the court because he keeps getting suspended. If you're just asking me for a player who in the playoffs is going to deliver, I think that's Curry still.
So are you taking Curry over Kawhi?
And Giannis?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so here's my clapback. So this is an important clapback.
Curry won a title 2 years ago, and did it with a pretty soft team. Okay, so to be honest,
titles aside, and I know it's a stupid thing to say, but is Curry's offensive output over what Kawhi gives you on offense
and defense
overweight against the liabilities he is on defense versus Kawhi as an asset?
Sure,
Golden State plays good team defense though. Like I think within the structure of what his team does, you can't say Curry is a bad defender because they play good defense as a team.
So this is what I'm asking. What if Kawhi was in the Golden State Warriors defense, right?
Well, I know, but
your offense can't.
But we can't start playing these hypotheticals of like if this guy was on this team,
we'd be here all day.
So what I'm saying is like
we got 2 players in the list. We're 10 minutes in it.
My argument is Curry's defensive liability versus Kawhi. You're saying it's less than what Curry's offensive gain is over Kawhi.
Yes, because I'm saying Curry changes the game offensively that Kawhi doesn't either. I'm sorry. Kawhi doesn't do the same things Curry does offensively.
Kawhi's game is sort of built for slowed down, gritty playoff playing when you need just like an 18-footer and
yes, of course. But Kawhi, listen, we haven't seen it recently enough for me in the playoffs. That's the only demerit point I'm giving Kawhi here.
For a long time. We have seen glimpses of it. We just haven't seen it over
exactly.
time.
He can prove us all wrong, stay healthy throughout the playoffs, and make the finals. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But even Curry last year on a Warriors team that sucked and had problems all season, dropped 50 on the Kings in a Game 7. And then by the Lakers...
What a series. Let's just look
Amazing
back
series.
fondly on how fun
Phenomenal
that
series.
So,
won 8.
I don't know what you guys want
So good. Okay, so
I don't know what you want to do with Curry. You guys tell me.
Listen, man, I still believe in the prototype, right? Come playoff time, you want a dude who's 6'8", 6'9", can play both ends of the floor, and is a killer. And to me, that's why I have Kawhi up. This is all just like, what are we arguing over, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like these guys are formidable
I'm fine
players
with
who've done
putting
it
both
before.
of those guys. I'm fine with putting Kawhi and Curry.
To me, if you got Jokic,
Okay, fair
S
enough.
tier, I think you go Giannis, Steph, Kawhi. If that's how we want to do it, not in that order. I would still have Kawhi ahead, but I think those guys all are in the same realm. I would be okay with them all being an A tier, but it's those three.
For the record, I have it as Jokic, Giannis, Kawhi. That's my order.
Yeah, I got Jokic, Kawhi, Giannis, and Steph. And believe me, I want to put Steph ahead of Giannis.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah,
but his age and the defensive,
Sure.
like the defensive stuff really gets me with Steph as he gets older.
I'm giving him major brownie points for the title he won
sure.
against the Celtics. I mean, that to me, I think, has earned him enough.
Come on, man, you have one job.
I know.
Go to the
one job.
Go
Oh,
to
no,
the
there's
Clippers.
Clippers.
Yeah.
So,
go to the
so we've
Clippers.
now established two guys in the, or sorry, just Jokic in the S tier,
Jokic
Kawhi,
S tier,
Steph,
Giannis.
Kawhi,
Giannis
so-
in the A tier.
Hein, do you have Steph in your A tier?
Let me check my list here.
Oh my goodness.
I did
Has a
have Steph.
laptop in front of
I
him.
did have
Okay,
Steph
okay,
in my
all right.
A tier.
So the way I set mine up was A tier was only 2 guys, but fine.
2 guys. Okay, I got a bunch of guys in my A tier.
My A tier's
All
crowded.
right, here we're going down the list here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also had. Hold
So,
on.
a dude who's what, 25 years old?
Yeah.
Keep up, man. 25 years old, and he's made the Eastern Conference Finals. Fuck, I don't have the stat in my head, like 4 times, 5 times in his young career.
Made the finals once.
Made the finals once. To me, that's another guy who fits that prototype of forward type player who can play both ends of the floor, and he's had some monster games. Lest we forget, man, the Game 6 against Milwaukee,
had what, 47?
47,
46.
He's had some statement games at such a young.
Against Philly too last year.
Gave Philly 51 in a Game 7.
Snatched their soul from the.
I love like we've talked about this many times. I'm probably the hardest on Tatum of the 4 of us.
He's young, man.
He's still
he's young, and he's got time still to figure his shit out.
I think Russillo said this with Simmons the other day. When we look and it's like Tatum wins the title this year on the Monday, are people gonna be like, is Tatum the best player in the NBA?
Yeah.
Boston, they're the title favorite. Like
He's in my A tier. Because he may win the championship this year.
How do we evaluate Tatum's defensive impact?
He's good. He's good defensively. He's I would say that Jason Tatum is one of the better defenders, especially as of late, the last few years. I think that's what he knows he needed to do to take that next step. They've made the finals. They've made Game 7 of the conference finals last year. I think this might be the year where the East is wide open.
Yeah.
I think they are so talented, and his numbers have taken a dip this year, regular season wise. I just think
he's doing more though.
He is doing more. He just looks more. He's willing to let his teammates run with the ball, do their thing, and I think he's been very responsible defensively.
Anybody looking at this list, if you're upset about Tatum, it's because it's diluted by his team's strength. That's the argument. I know what like the average.
You can make the same argument about Steph. You can make the same argument about
I think
Giannis.
to his credit, that's why I asked the question. Like isolated individually, how do you guys feel about him as a defender?
So we're all in agreement. Tatum to the A tier.
I got him in my A tier.
Yeah,
he's in my.
You don't.
Okay,
you look like
so I only have 2 people in my A tier. Like that's
crazy to me.
No, but like to me, it's just like I think Giannis and Kawhi are a level above what Tatum brings to the table,
But not at Jokic's level.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's just how I tiered it. Like, you know what I mean? I think Jokic is like the sun. He's on his own, okay? And then I just think Giannis. I think Giannis and Kawhi are just such carry players. Whereas like Tatum, I don't think with a very very bad roster could carry the way Giannis and Kawhi can carry.
But
They're
he doesn't
A
have
players,
to. But
man.
don't you think though? Don't you value what Tatum can do late in the game where Giannis is a detriment? But not really detriment, but like he's not a guy who you want to close that out, and Lillard's going to close that out.
And then the argument from is I assess Giannis's defensive impact is better than Tatum's.
I might push
a
back
DPOY.
on that.
A DPOY.
Sure, I might push back on that a little bit. I just don't know if Giannis can defend perimeter players as well as Jason Tatum could. I think Giannis will own the paint, because he's huge and he can do that. Tatum, I think, has more ability on the perimeter, personally. But again, we're just like mincing stuff.
I think A tier.
So,
I think West is the only one in
I
disagreement.
think
Well, I only have 2.
I got a lot of guys in my A tier,
So
man.
now this is now a question of, because to me now there's 2 groups. There's the the young dudes who haven't done it. Your Shays, your Lukas. Then you have what do we do with Braun? What do we do with KD?
No,
Okay.
Jimmy Butler.
Next up,
but I'm saying the guys who've done it. Like
next up on our list, as we move this along, Luka Doncic.
So I think though, if we're gonna have A tier as guys who've done it, doesn't Luka then go to B tier?
I don't have it like that. I think Luka is on the ascension.
But you're telling me
S tier to me, in my opinion, it's guys who have done it before. That's when you get S tier.
So it's just guy who's done it before though, because we only.
I had Kawhi in mind, but yeah, that's how we're doing it. So for this exercise, I think Luka, to your point, it's funny that you're arguing.
Like I had him S tier, but I think based off of the criteria we've aligned, he then belongs in B tier.
I would go A tier as guys who made the finals, who've won, and he's made a conference finals, and he is again someone who's incredibly young. I think we do this a lot, man. Like he's made it to the playoffs a lot in his young career, and we all think that he's like 29, 30 years old. He's not. He's
I'm with you then for that, but then what do we do with Shai? Because Shai doesn't have the playoffs.
Shai's far down on my list.
I think
he hasn't earned it yet. He hasn't earned shit. I love Shai.
How much more so has Luka earned it than Shai?
Luka's made a conference
Luka's
finals.
been a superstar, and he's been a superstar in the league for many years. He's had the playoff track record. Shai has not even won a playoff series.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think it's fair to put those two together. I think Shai, even though he's ahead of him in the MVP race, I think the argument is that everyone knows Shai hasn't done it in the playoffs.
This is playoffs.
We're talking about playoffs. Luka, I think everybody knows is extremely
So we're putting Luka A tier.
I got Luka A tier.
Luka's A tier.
Has to be.
You can't just hold it against him that he hasn't won anything yet when he's 25 and he's made a conference final.
That you all said.
My A tier is long.
No, I never said the A tier has to be a guy who's won a title. Yeah, come on, man, you're mixing up the tiers.
What's wrong with you?
So
I had Luka in my S tier. So like
he's an A tier. Luka's A tier.
Okay, so this is a perfect time for me to be the controversial one. I have Durant ahead of Luka.
Durant's next for me.
I have Durant ahead of Luka. You don't. I know you don't.
Hold on. And I love KD.
He's older.
He's older. Booker's the best player on that team.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
So how can you?
No, he's the best scorer. He's the best scorer.
I'm with you, Hein. Yeah, I'm with you.
So you guys are insane.
Okay, I'm the one with the controversial. Watch this. Paris 2024 is coming up. It's going to be the last super Team USA team.
Durant closes. Yeah.
Who closes that game? Who takes that last shot? Who does LeBron, Curry, all the best players on Team USA defer to for the final shot? It's Kevin Durant.
He has a shot.
Devin Booker
is that a proven thing that they defer to Kevin Durant in the Olympics?
We saw what he did in Tokyo.
Okay, that was 2020.
So I'm saying LeBron wasn't on that team, Curry wasn't on the team. That's fine, right?
I've seen Durant get bullied by the Celtics and swept in the first round. Man. Last year, when you guys were all like, "Oh, the Suns are going to beat the Nuggets. See you later. Done." KD is old, all right?
That's the thing.
He shot 33% from
Who was the same age as Curry? Same age as Curry.
The last two playoffs. Guess what? Curry won a title 2 years ago while Durant was getting swept in Brooklyn. Let's not even compare them.
Your hate of KD is
I'm giving you facts. These aren't opinions.
I think to me, why I love KD, you alluded to it a little bit. He has an unguardable shot. And that in the playoffs, to me, is extremely valuable.
To me, and I will say this again, I am normally with you all the time on KD. He's aged this year, and it's
the regular season, dude.
I know, but like,
do not get seduced by the
regular
season.
So are we arguing that KD comes through in the playoffs? What like recently? So what's the argument here that he's biding his time to not do well in the playoffs?
2 Finals MVPs. He has his foot in the line against.
I'm talking about post Warriors KD. Brooklyn was a disaster.
No, he had a foot.
And look at that series. He literally carried.
Why is KD ahead of LeBron? LeBron just took a bad team to the conference finals last year in the most competitive sweep in NBA history.
LeBron's ahead of KD for me.
I have them right beside. I have them right beside.
Old.
My other point on KD.
LeBron's having a better year than KD.
Come on.
He is.
Listen, I understand that. Come playoff time,
where was LeBron last year? Further than KD.
The most competitive sweep in NBA history.
Most competitive sweep, man.
Most competitive sweep. I think KD went through the Nuggets, man. The Nuggets were a formidable team that rolled through the league.
And LeBron played the Nuggets tougher than Phoenix.
Not in the playoffs. LeBron had a pretty cushy playoff schedule last year.
Let's just all reflect on that. I think it was Game 4 when everybody went over. What a lovely. Our friends at FanDuel took it on the chin from this group in that game.
Fair point. I got KD at A tier. I have
if you're gonna put it in, we have to LeBron too. Then.
Oh, I got a couple guys.
I got LeBron there.
I got LeBron there.
I'd have LeBron over KD.
I don't care that LeBron's still.
I don't have KD in my A tier. You guys want to put him in there? Go for it. But I don't think he should be in there.
That's disrespect, man. You don't have KD in your A tier.
No.
In your B tier.
So where do you have?
Yeah,
Booker
he's in my
then?
B tier.
Booker's
I think
not
Booker's
in the A
ahead of
tier.
KD.
No.
Booker led the
Come on, man.
playoffs in scoring last year.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he did. 33.7. He
KD
was on.
KD
To his
proven,
credit.
man.
Those
Okay, so
two-
we're in agreement then. LeBron goes to A tier.
Yes.
LeBron
I got
A tier.
LeBron A tier, no
LeBron
problem.
A
You guys
tier.
can do
Just
that.
longevity. Just, I mean, the guy still has it, man.
Dude,
He's shooting
Still
the
has
almost a
40,000
career.
points. It's crazy.
Listen, what he did to the Clippers a few nights ago,
Magical
he just went
performance.
wild
Yeah.
on them, and
Yeah.
he can still do that. The thing is, he can't do it every night. So in that Memphis series in the opening series last year, you could tell he took a couple games off. Like the game gets out of hand. All right, I'm gonna cool it a little bit, but he still has it in
They
There's
knew they were in control of that series
Yeah.
from the get-go.
And they're a
See,
great
like-
matchup against the Warriors.
Like to me with the LeBron thing, it's like there's a leadership quality that you cannot quantify. It's so intangible.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you can't teach
the
that,
resume
right?
alone, man. Like
Out
you
of
just owe it
respect,
to him.
he has to be in the A tier.
For sure.
It's LeBron
For
James.
sure, yeah.
Speaking of respect,
Here comes Jimmy Butler.
my man. Him and Butler.
Hold on, wait. First of all, are we putting KD in the A tier?
Yes.
man. Has to be in
Yes.
the A tier.
I disagree.
Ignore the
I know you
haters in the
disagree.
the corners of the table. You guys are haters, man. You gotta respect the
This,
resume.
look, whatever. That's fine.
Jimmy Butler.
So Jimmy's not going to the A tier.
He's in my A tier. Jimmy Butler.
He's in my A
He's in
tier
my B.
ahead of Kevin Durant.
I,
Oh, now what? I got you. I got you. It's the button pushing meme. Agree with Fab or disrespect Jimmy.
I have them both side by side on my list right here. I have them both side by side. I have them both side by side. What are you talking about, Jimmy not making the A tier?
Where's his ring? Everybody here, other than Luka and Tatum, have a ring.
Come on, man. Three of the last 4 conference finals.
He's led
in
some
the
deep.
East.
He's led some
2
deep runs.
finals appearances. He belongs in the A tier.
like,
Come
he-
playoff time, you want a dog.
He clearly gears up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We know that. They've got the track record of deep playoff runs.
I love it.
My honest question to you is,
Yes.
does he have enough gas in the tank? Because he ran out of steam
Yeah.
Ran out last year.
So
Ran out last
is that going to happen again? Because
think so.
against Boston later in the series and the finals against Denver, he was out of gas.
He was.
So
You
can
can
he
see
do
it.
that again?
You could
I don't
see
know.
It was palpable. He came out firing, destroyed the Bucks, and then you can tell he
Destroyed
wore
the Bucks
out.
without Giannis.
I think they'll be a little more healthier this year. For like what, a game and a half?
No, he got hurt game 1, and then he missed 2 games. Did he not?
Whatever, man. They destroyed the Bucks. Even when Giannis was on the floor, he still destroyed them. To me, this year I think the Heat are a little more deep. They got more guys. You can expect Harrow to be healthy. They got Jaquez who's in. They got a bunch of these young guys, Jovic, who's been balling out. I think they have some more depth. Terry Rozier, obviously, assuming he's healthy. They have more depth to carry along. I think to me with the Heat, we do this every year. We do it every year. Just wait until the playoffs comes and watch them shine, man. Watch them shine. Dude, I would say that most teams in the East, top of the East, would be terrified of playing the Heat. No team wants to play
nobody
Miami
wants
in the
the Heat.
first
No one
round,
wants the Heat.
and there is a reason for that, and his name is Jameer Butler.
Yeah.
Jameer. He's in the A tier.
and
man.
you
have
can-
him in the A?
That's my top. No, because I only have 2 in my A
Sorry,
tier.
but
you have him in
He's
him
my
at
B. He's in that group. He's my
Top of your B.
He's my 8th. He's my 8th. I got my
Eighth
yeah.
overall. Yeah, he's also my.
my eighth.
He's also my 8th or 9th. Yeah, 8th.
All right, so we're putting Jimmy in A tier. Or
Come on,
doing-
man.
Yeah, he is. That was. So I told you my A tier was crowded. I had a small
tier
S
should be
tier
one.
and a big A tier.
That's it for me. I'm done with my A's.
Okay,
I'm done.
so-
we moving to B.
I think now.
You want to do a recap?
No. Like the
It's
people
there.
can
People
see.
can see
It's
it.
there.
I think this is where now Shai probably belongs, right?
B tier for me.
Like at the top of the B tier.
Him and Edwards are the same to me because they're.
Oh, see,
I
No,
have him
but-
in my B.
Listen,
I have Shai in my
we hold on. We need a reminder here on Shai has been insanely good this year.
Yeah.
The only thing holding him back is we haven't seen it in the playoffs. But he's dropping 30 a night. He's second in MVP vote
Yeah.
in MVP
Love
odds on
Shai, man.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a guy. Once we see it once, he could be in the S tier.
Yes.
But the only thing holding him back is we just haven't seen it.
I think what I want to point out too for the casuals who don't really know Shai's game as well, for a playoff series, the type of offense that he has, herky jerky, knows how to bait you into foul calls. The type of offense that he has, it's transferable.
Yep.
There's
Oh,
certain
yeah.
types of players who are like, transition only, fast break, like, Trae Young kind of guy.
Yeah,
like
yep.
certain guys in the regular season really shine. I am confident Shai's offense will translate this year in the playoffs.
I'm not worried about his offense.
I
I'm
know.
worried about his defense.
I know.
I don't necessarily equate steals with great
No, I know.
defense.
I know.
When he played in the bubble, that playoff series against
Long
Houston,
time ago.
Long time
But
ago. Granted, he got
held,
exposed.
But he's held up a little better defensively than
He has.
He has length.
I just don't, I'm not a fan of letting the guy get by you so you can poke the ball out. I
We'll
think
see.
you do that occasionally. But again, it's a prove it season for him.
Yeah.
Offensively, a monster. Defensively, I want to see it.
did we make a mistake leaving Brow out of the A tier?
Yes.
I have
Come
him,
on, man.
I have him right under Tatum. Like at
Brow,
11.
A tier?
Anthony
11.
Davis?
I'm at 11.
Come on,
I'm
man.
Brown.
Brow in the
11.
A tier.
Come on,
Why don't we
Not
just
A
put
tier.
everyone in the A tier? Why
have-
don't we just have 2 tiers?
I have Brow in my C tier as 11th. I have 5 guys in my C tier.
I think Brow should maybe be ahead of Shai here just because
No way.
he got the title.
Insane,
No.
dude. You're
No.
insane, man.
Well, you just said to put him in the A tier a second ago. Did you not?
Who? Brow?
Yeah.
No. You mishear, my friend. I do not.
Oh, your outrage was at the audacity for asking
Here's-
for the
even
question.
bringing it up.
But
Here's
the ring.
insane.
I think
He-
we're
here-
valuing rings. Like,
man.
Okay, but
Second fiddle.
here's the thing. He's still the number 2 guy.
Yeah, and that's the
and
question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't take a guy who can't create his own shot over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right? So he made it in my C tier. Brow just got in at the end for me.
okay, so then what about is
Same.
Booker the next guy?
Oh, no. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stop. I know injury is gonna be part of this match.
Yeah,
okay?
he's
And
talking
then
Embiid.
we have to have
Embiid's in the
a
beat.
discussion. We have
Oh
to
my
have a
god,
discussion
we completely
No,
forgot
I
about
haven't
him. Yeah.
mentioned
Brown
have-
over Embiid.
No,
Yeah, we
I
have to have a
no,
discussion
No,
about
I have
Embiid.
Embiid on my list, and
He's
it's
B
just
tier.
it's just the health. We
Look,
don't know if he's gonna play.
So
That's why.
for me, he's dropped all the way to the bottom of my B tier,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just health. Okay, and I get it. Terrible playoff track record. Okay, it just has never looked good.
They were still up
Not great.
3-2 on Boston in Game 6
And they didn't
last
give- and they
year.
didn't give him the ball.
Yeah,
And his offense is actually different this year.
Oh, this
versus
year
last.
it's
he's
beautiful.
really taken on
Yeah.
another level. Okay, to his credit, probably would have been the MVP favorite if he played the 65 games. But that's how life goes. Okay, is he healthy enough for this playoffs?
Let's
I don't
hope.
know.
Let's
I
hope.
don't know.
and
So-
that's the question.
He's in my B. He's in my B
I'm-
tier
I'm-
just for the health and the lack of playoff track
got-
record. But I'm trying to manage the. Okay, he's been the most dominant force in the league this season against falling short in the playoffs. So to me, I ended up in the B tier just because the health, the lack of playoffs, and the uncertainty.
I'm sliding him up. He's
You
in.
talk
I
about
put him in
someone
the
who
tier.
can ascend, right? Like,
Yeah.
To me, like last year, a lot of the conversation was Jokic versus Embiid. I know we've had plenty
Yeah,
of those
yeah.
ourselves. Like, whose game translates better for the playoffs? Jokic, 100%. Embiid's not so much, which was surprising.
Yeah.
If he's healthy this year, I think it makes the East very interesting.
Yeah.
He deserves B tier based alone on the track record. And you made
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
He's, man, those like 20-foot shots, man, they look like butter.
that
man.
didn't
Yeah,
exist
yeah.
last year.
Oh my
right?
goodness!
That's
and,
new.
Nick Nurse like unleashing him.
And the
Doc
passing?
Rivers, like come
The
on,
passing's
No,
better, too?
I have in my B tier. We have Shai, Embiid, and I think we gotta give some love to Devin Booker.
Yeah, but I
who we
think
talked
Booker
about
goes
before.
next.
I think
Yeah.
Booker's a
Interesting.
very easy B tier.
So
guy.
now here's a question though. We all, I think, agree Booker's a better player than Jamal Murray. Once again, a 2, but like we've seen Murray in playoffs elevate.
It's interesting with
It's
Jamal.
yeah, like
very
I like
interesting.
Booker, but we've seen it at the
Jamal
highest
Murray's
stage.
a
Wes,
part-
Wes has got to make
I'm
a face.
beside each other. I have Booker and Murray right
Okay.
beside
Oh,
each
you got
other.
Murray there too.
Oh,
man.
right beside.
So Murray made by C tier. He is an absolute dog in the playoffs.
Yes.
He's a very fascinating player because he's never made the All-Star team, yet he's won a championship. His numbers get better
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
Yes.
They get
Yes.
better. I want a guy like that. He's in the top 15 for me for sure, just because of his playoff prowess, and he's won a title.
So
End of story.
And
He's in the top 15.
He's 50% of the most unstoppable play in basketball. The Jokic Murray
Yeah.
pick and
Yes.
roll 2-man game. He is 50% of that. That means something. I have him in my C tier.
C tier. He
Yeah.
had
So-
to
Yeah,
crack
he's
the
on my
now
list.
we're
list.
gonna
Yeah.
go in order. Are we putting him ahead of Booker? Does the championship give him that slight bump?
You know, I'll let you guys decide on that. I think they're very, very similar.
Booker, I think, shoulders way more of a load than Murray does, and
He's got KD.
But see, I'd put Booker in the B tier, even possibly the A tier, because I think he's the number one option
I had
on
Booker-
Phoenix.
we're
so,
aligned. I
so
had
you want to
Booker
line
at
it?
B.
Let's put Booker in the B tier,
Yeah,
right?
you
Is
have
that?
him
I think
higher.
that's
Yeah,
fair.
You have him higher, no problem.
I'm not punishing Jamal. I'm just saying Booker. I think Booker has to be the guy on that
I'll put
team.
them beside each other.
So does anybody not have Brow on their list completely?
No, he made it. He made it for
So
me.
they all made your lists.
Yes.
Brow. Okay.
So we have 2 more spots left, and I'll throw out the names that I have left.
Yeah, let's mess around. I
So
wanted to mess
we got
around.
Brow.
Brow.
We put Murray there now.
Ant-Man. I got
I got
Ant-Man.
Ant, and then this was my tier 5. So I did to 20. I got Lillard,
5?
Bam. No, whatever. Like my last 5 guys. Lillard, Bam, Paul George, Mitchell, Brunson. Which I don't think any of those are gonna touch. I think it's for sure Brow.
Yeah.
Is where we start.
Brown and Ant-Man, I think, to me, are locked for the C tier. And then I have this weird little group here, as you can see, where I already mentioned Jamal.
I have a name that's like the wild card name.
Don't
and
say
I-
Wemby.
No. I don't think you will end up on this. Okay.
Don't say Chet Holmgren.
Does anybody not like Dre for this list? Draymond Green. and his impact and what he's talking about championship
Yeah,
history.
no,
You called the dynasty dead.
But that's what I'm saying. So there you
Of
go.
all people.
So-
Roll the tape.
So that many years ago, the impact that Dre has on how that team won 4 championships, he is so critical to what they do. Now listen, I'm open. Okay, I'm open-minded. Okay, I'm just saying. I just think Dre is one of these guys that
Even the game 7 they lost,
how do you replace a guy like Dre?
Coming off of suspension.
Who do you replace?
I agree. He's fundamental to what the Warriors do. We're talking about guys who are one options, two options. I can't put you ahead of a guy who's being asked.
It's a fair flag.
Just wanted to
Where do we stand on Bam Adebayo?
Yeah, so that's it. I think
So I had kind of Jamal, Damian Lillard, and Bam Adebayo on this like C-tier
sure.
level. Who cracks the top 15 type thing. I love Bam. Talking about the guys who show up in the playoffs defensively, especially.
my one question about Lillard, as he ages in the defense,
Has made the
gets
playoffs
worse.
in years.
I know, but like, aren't teams going to look at him as a focal point of attack?
They will fear
defensively?
him.
Hey, he's gonna be the closer.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
They will attack him defensively.
He's had some quotes recently how he'll play defense when it matters.
Yeah.
He said some of that stuff. He hasn't made the playoffs in 3 years.
Softest conference finals ever on that resume.
Yeah, they got swept.
I struggled with where I think he ultimately just fell short of my list.
I'm
but
taking
I
Bam and Ant over him for
He's
sure.
had some series clinching shots, which is like
he's Dame
stuff
Lillard.
resonates.
He's
He
Dame
was great
Lillard,
last
man.
night. He went off last
He's
night.
Dame Lillard. Like, maybe we should put him on.
There's a fear thing
Yeah.
with him, right? If he's
Yeah.
pulling up from like 35 feet, like you're still like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put a hand up on this. Like
Yeah.
he's just one of
Yeah.
those guys too. Like I think amongst the NBA players, they'll be like, we respect this guy.
Now, I don't
Come
think
playoff time.
either of these two names belong, but I'll just throw them out there. We've seen Donovan Mitchell look really good in the playoffs. That Cleveland team's
Made the
interesting.
playoffs every year.
And then I had Brunson as my 20th. I don't think he belongs in there. I'm just saying the name.
I
if
think the
there's any
challenge with those names is like there's a lot of comparable guys.
Yeah.
And whereas like a guy like Ant, his skill set and what he brings, like value over replacement. How do you find a guy more akin to what Ant
Impactful.
brings to the table? Whereas like Mitchell's kind of like interchangeable with Booker, interchangeable with a guy like
You got like Mitchell, you got Brunson.
Like anyone on the Cavs, man, the stench is there. I'm sorry, I just can't.
Man, Becky Hammond, man.
You know what? Brunson deserves a shout too, though. Like he's really
And
good.
his numbers are good in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's really good. He was a tough omission for me. Also, shout out De'Aaron Fox, who was having a great series before he got
You
hurt.
got nothing to say about your guy Sabonis? I saw you on Twitter going at it with Kings fans.
Regular season guy.
Listen, man, Sabonis is a regular season stat
Regular
stuffer.
season guy.
He has not done anything in the playoffs. Maybe he will this year.
They dared him
if
to
they make the playoffs.
shoot
So are
line
we throwing?
jumpers.
Is Ant getting our 15th spot? I think it's Ant or game.
I'd
or
put
Bam.
Ant in the B tier, honestly. I would.
Yeah, Ant-Man
Throw
is
Ant in there.
he's
All right,
worthy.
got it.
They're on a potential
Okay.
1 seed in the West.
Okay, so
Listen, I think to me, to wrap this up in terms of like there's a lot of good players that we left off this list, right? Like Donovan Mitchell, I think people get upset about. Even Paul George, De'Aaron Fox. Like you got some young Tyrese Halliburton who's on the rise.
Jalen Brown.
Brunson, Jalen Brown. I think to me, like Becky Hammond said it, man. Unless you're a unicorn, it's very hard for me to rely on a small player other than AI. What do we got right here?
Yeah.
Allen Iverson is like one of the few players who
just
made
shots
the
fired at
mountaintop.
the Steve Francis jersey over there.
He never made the mountaintop. He never made the mountaintop. So to me, it's just in the playoffs, it's just going to be harder for a small to win. So that's why if I have to choose someone like Brow, who's huge game breaker, defensive monster, I want guys who like Jamal's like bigger than just a normal small, and
He's got good size for a point guard.
Pretty good
He's not
size.
Brunson.
Ant-Man's got good size.
Yeah.
Shai's got
Yeah.
great size. Booker's got great size. That to me will be the
Yeah.
tiebreaker.
All right, let's just recap. S tier, we got Jokic. A tier, we're going Giannis, Kawhi, Steph, Tatum, Luka, LeBron,
Love it.
KD, Jimmy, emo hair Jimmy picture too. Love that.
And I think that makes sense, man. It makes sense because all those guys have a shot.
B tier, we got Shea, Embiid, Booker, Murray, and then closing out in the C tier, we got Brow and Ant-Man. Thanks
good,
for
man.
watching. If you agree, or I'm guessing a lot of people in the comments are going to disagree,
How could you not agree?
Let us know.
go to the comments
wrong
and
with you?
rip us to shreds, please.
Or agree with us.